Welcome back, watch fans. I wanted to do a brief video over one of my, what I would call the classics watches that I've had in my collection for quite some time now. Most of you will recognize that is the nickname, the Seiko Arnie, the reference number SNJ025. Now, what brought my interest to this was, of course, the original Seiko Arnie, which was the H558-5009. That one was made by Seiko, a different movement. It was not solar like this one is solar, and it was similar dimensions though. This is in the classic tuna style of case by Seiko. They call it that because it is inside of this tuna can kind of appearance from the classic old tuna can days. Well, that prior one, the H558, was what was worn by Arnold Schwarzenegger in several movies in the 80s, and every young guy saw that watch and thought that was the epitome of cool. I mean, he was larger than life at the time and still remains so. And he wore this watch in I think it was 1985 when Commando came out, and I love that movie to this day. He also wore it in Predator in 1987. And I tell you what, there was just no more iconic watch for action movie lovers than that Seiko. This model, the SNJ025, they introduced in 2019. And of course, I had to pick one up. And I've had it ever since. And I will say this, it has traveled with me all around the globe. This is one of those that I have actually had diving. And because that strap is big enough that you can wrap it over a wetsuit, I think maybe a 5 mil, something like that. 200 meters of water resistance. This one is their Solar series. And of course you can see Solar X 200 meters right there on the dial. And this is one of the hybrids. So it's got the analog hands, the digital readout, and you can change through that. There's a little light inside there that if you push the button, it lights up. Of course there is lume, but it lights up. Also, if you scroll through, you can look at different time zones. There's a timer option. There's an alarm setting, of course. Back to the day and date. These are screw down in order to depress. I usually keep them screwed out. And there's other videos online about how to rotate through the settings using the little crown. And I tell you what, though, very cool watch. Not a small watch by any means. The dimensions that they read online, they say diameter 47.8 and thickness 37.5. 22 millimeter lugs, of course. And I found this to be a little thicker than that. I don't know why. Let's try it and see. 40, let's see here. That is 40, well, right at 47. But the thickness is where things I thought were a little bit different. 14.7 right there on the edge. There is a bit of a flare. And I don't know if you can see in the video, but that is a raised bezel. So it's a little bit taller than this is hard crystal in the middle. It is not sapphire, which is frankly more durable, but it does scratch. It's in pretty good shape though. I will say this watch has been great, and it is a bigger watch. I don't mind bigger watches. I've got a 7.3 inch wrist, and I have said this before, it tapers what I think kind of strangely because it just drops down into a bit of a taper. Of course, this is the Panerai PAM 104 that I wear often. Love this watch. It's a 44 millimeter watch. It's about, I estimate 15 millimeters thick. Another classic from back in the day. Love that watch. Let's try this on just to see how it looks on my 7.3 inch wrist. Again, look how long that strap is. Clearly made for wearing over wetsuits, etc. And that's kind of the reason why it's designed as such. And so the lug to lug is said to be 50.5, but really, I don't know. I never found it to be a overly large looking watch. Definitely has a very good wrist presence, but I tell you what, these Seikos on the black silicone, this is the original strap, very impressive. And anybody who really enjoys, the watches of movies, this is one that they would recognize right away. Very cool watch. Thanks for watching.